Alaphilippe pressed on to lead the race onto the gravel, 5 minutes 40 ahead of the main field.
Luc Rowe leads Team Sky over the top of the middle categorised climb of the day, the hors catégorie montée du Plateau des Glières, riding a relatively modest pace. It's still a big peloton. And over they go now, and onto these gravel roads across the top of the plateau. Stunning sight, a place of significance in French national history, a place of emotional importance, the martyrdom of the 121 French resistance fighters that took to this plateau, awaited airdrops from the Allied forces, and the British in particular, carried their armaments and their fight to the German backlines and eventually succumbed when the Wehrmacht closed down their efforts, and 121 resistance fighters met their end up on this plateau itself. And it's a stunning sight as the Tour de France now pays respect to the history of this mountain and also presents the riders of the Tour de France with the interesting proposition, Strade Bianche style of unmade gravel roads. A different proposition in the dry from the wet, but still quite a spectacle. And Luc Rowe has led the peloton the entire way up that very steep 6-kilometre climb, and he's still a part of Team Sky. But as a result of the pace that he was setting, the breakaway group have grown their lead from the foot to the top of this climb into something really quite substantial.
Yeah, it opens the potential once more of that breakaway making it to the finish line. And I think everybody in that break will be aware of that. But they'll also know that the peloton was slowing down. It was a peloton that chose to let that gap go up. It wasn't the breakaway being stronger. It was Team Sky riding tactically and simply keeping their men fresh, if you like, for as long as possible.
Oh, Sky riders down and at the side of the road. Didn't see what happened there. Wheel being changed and given by his teammate.
It's definitely a team leader.
It
otherwise,
must be.
so it's.
Well, just look at the front. So Sunweb now moving to the front. And there's Michal Kwiatkowski and Luc Rowe there. And no other Team Sky rider. Chris Froome again, isn't it? Of course it is. That's what happens to Chris Froome. And invariably, Chris Froome recovers his position as he gets back on, clips in, and will get back, I'm sure, to the bunch very, very swiftly. He gets past Alexander Kristoff. Kristoff just battles the big Norwegian sprinter to stick on the wheel of Chris Froome. Interesting that he's isolated at this point. His teammate gave him a wheel, so obviously his teammate can be of no assistance at this point. But little stress at the moment, I think. A little stress, let's put it like that, from Chris Froome once again.
It's normal practice, isn't it? This seems to happen to Chris Froome all the time. These little incidents that. But it's they don't help. But we know for a fact that Chris Froome overcomes them each time. But it's far from the best moments, because you can see how the peloton was thinned out and stretched out so long. That does mean it's going to take his teammates a little bit longer to get back to him.
Sortez de la paille les fusils, la mitraille, les grenades.
Striking tributes to the events of 1944.
La balle et au couteau tu évites. Oh et saboteur, attention à ton fardeau dynamite. C'est nous qui brisons les barreaux des prisons pour nos frères. La haine à nos trousses et la faim qui nous pousse la misère. Il y a des pays où les gens au creux des lits font des rêves. Ici, nous vois-tu, nous on marche et nous on tue, nous on crève.
Well, the Tour de France paying respect. And even the riders, who very rarely do this, I think, just glancing to the side and knowing, I think, the significance of this moment and understanding the importance of it. Very moving indeed. Plateau des Glières very soon will be behind them, and with Chris Froome just in a little struggle of his own to get back into the peloton, having required a wheel change. And there he is, right at the back there, in the company of Alexander Kristoff. Chris Froome once again, has just been put through the ringer. But time and time again, he just gets through these situations. Little pinch point at the top as riders pick up bottles from helpers. Chris Froome in an unusual position of isolation, and unusually for him, right at the back of the peloton now as they start to descend. 6:48, the gap has grown to, and the breakaway will start to believe that this is on. Let's see, though, still a long way to go until we get to the end. 82.1 kilometres and 2 big Cat 1 climbs still to come. What a race we've got.